If I gave you a bio that included all of Zvi's accomplishments, I would take the entire time. So I'm going to do a very brief version of it. To start out with, Zvi is a very distinguished theoretical computer scientist and a longtime member of the National Academy of Engineering. On the side, he's also led computing organizations in academia for about 30 years, first as chair of the Tel Aviv University Computer Science Department, then Columbia Computer Science Department, then 12 years as Dean of the College of Engineering at Columbia, then time as President of Tel Aviv University, and then 9 years as the Dean of the College of Computing at Georgia Tech, where he led the formation of what quickly became the world-famous online Masters of Science in Computer Science, which he'll be talking about. Now, on a personal note, Zvi and I only met recently, as long as you're measuring time in archaeological eras. We've actually known each other since 1973 when I started as a grad student at Cornell, and he'd been there for a year already. So Zvi is going to talk to us about his experience in leading and creating the online Masters in Computer Science at Georgia Tech, but also about his vision for higher education and online education. Zvi?
Where is the, here it is. Okay, so in our age, you don't speak in decades, you know. You don't say what happened like 10 or 20 years ago. Like half a century ago, or minus 6 months, we met. And we hope to meet in another half a century, right? Okay, so I'm going to talk about what we call OMSCS, Online MS in CS. It's a program. Program in Computer Science, master program. It's collaboration between Georgia Tech, Udacity is like Coursera, you know, and AT&T. And the collaboration will be clear as we go. It was announced in May of 2014 and launched in January 2013, and was launched in January 2014 with 380 students and 5 courses. So it's not a baby anymore. In a little over a year, it will be 10 years old. So if you have ideas for how do you celebrate a 10-year birthday, you know right now. So the talk will indeed have 2 parts. One, how did it all start? Because everywhere I go, they ask me, how did you do it? How did you make a change in higher education? You know, universities are the second most conservative institution in the world. Number 1 is the Catholic Church. And it's very hard to make changes, especially big ones. So that's part of the story that I tell you. Towards the end, I'll tell you about my vision, my dream, possibly wishful thinking, of what ought to be higher education, what ought to be a move to the 21st century. Because in higher education, we are still in the 19th century. So the use of technology for higher education in a better way. Where are we now? So we started with 380 students. This is a picture for 2016 or 17, the first graduating class. So those who finished quickly, usually only 20% of the students in our program have been to Atlanta or to Georgia before. They come to graduation. The only ones who have been there because they live there. We have some from the state. And that was the first class that graduated during commencement, and it's the last class that fit into a picture. So that's the class in food that arrived. So far we had almost 8,000 graduates. In the last academic year, we have well over 2,000. So this coming summer, we'll pass a milestone. 10,000 graduates, which is probably more than number of master degree graduates in all the Ivy League, Stanford, Caltech, and MIT combined in a number of years. We have over 50, we don't track them that carefully, so it might be higher, students in PhD programs. The spring and the fall of 2022, 12,000 students, plus or minus. You know, it depends when you count. This number is fluid. But the round number is 12,000 students. We have 60 courses. It's a little cheating, I'll explain later, because it counts few others from our other online programs. And Harvard, a group from Harvard, they studied it, and it said other things that I'll tell you later, say that it's the largest master in CS program in the US. Actually, some other people said even stronger, made even stronger statement. They say it's the largest program in any subject, online or not online, in the world. Now, is it true or no? I didn't do research, but it's a pretty large program. So here's the story. How did it start? One day, how did it start? So I'm giving you, and I know now actually, you guys are doing in University of Colorado, also join the fray, and I encourage you to burst into the second place. And you're doing some exciting stuff. November 2000, so that's history. November 2011, the first MOOCs by Norvig and Tran. That's not 100% precise statement. Somebody invented the notion of MOOC in 2008. MOOC is massive open online course. Certainly it was not massive in 2008, but the term was invented earlier. But what we know as MOOC today, the first one was in 2011, and immediately afterwards, two more by Andrew Ng, that later with Daphna Collier created Coursera, and Jennifer Widom, two of them, also from Stanford. Sebastian was Stanford and Google, later Udacity. These are the first three MOOCs. Early in 2012, the company for the platforms. So Coursera and Udacity came early, a bit later edX. New York Times, Thomas Friedman called the year 2012 the year of the MOOC. The crucial time was early September 2012, Sebastian Tran visited me. And he told me, Zvi, let's do a degree program. Nobody did a degree program. The MOOCs were all free. Maybe a couple started to do with certificate, you know? What does it mean, certificate? For $50, somebody said that you took it, and you can hang it in the bathroom. So Sebastian, let's do a master program for $1,000. And I'm pretty good with numbers, especially with the dollar sign. Also, with addition and subtraction. Multiplication is already a challenge, but addition and subtraction. So I'm pretty good with dollars, with budgets. And I told Sebastian $1,000, 4,000. And actually I was right. Had it been 4,000, we would break even. Our leadership, however, were cautious and say, first they let me do it. Now, are they brave? No, they didn't know what is, they didn't understand it. So they let me do it. But they say, you know, just in case, not make it 4,000, make it 66 or 7,000. And actually, that was a smart move. As a result, there are millions now in the bank. So here I'm going to tell you the process. I immediately liked the idea, I wanted to do it. But how will I do it? You know, in a university, A dean is nobody. He can tell the faculty, tomorrow you jump. And they will all laugh him out of the room. Maybe a couple of non-tenured faculty will jump, but only until they get tenure. So how do you do it? So here's a story, it's in the next slide. I created a task force. So actually, a smart dean doesn't make decisions. A smart dean let the faculty make decisions and believe that it was their idea. Because the faculty in general are against any change. They can be the brightest people on earth. They can do amazing research, but many of them are not exactly mature, and many of them would not do any change, because I have it good, why change? Even if it's their benefit, they don't believe it. There might be something behind it. And many times there are. And so that's the process. I'm going to talk about it. In January 2013, it was not approved yet. It was approved in March. Sebastian and I went to the CEO, Randall Stevenson, the CEO of AT&T. And I remember the date as long as I live, January 11th, 2013, Friday. We went to, and on Monday, he gave us $2 million. I was grateful, but I didn't realize how crucial it was. You have to invest. You know, Georgia Tech doesn't have large endowment, it's not Harvard. Harvard can buy Boston, you know, easy. Georgia Tech has, then it had a $1 billion endowment. So they can give us some change, but cannot help. Having the $2 million enabled us to get started and get up and running quickly before all the naysayers will be successful. So only later I realized how great this gift was. So they gave us $2 million, then a year later I came in with the hat and the gift another $2 million. I'm a good beggar. So I appointed a faculty working group. That's how you do it. You let the faculty go there. But I a little bit cheated. The MOOCs already existed. Some of the faculties did MOOCs in 2012 and liked it, so I put them on the committee. So they like MOOCs. So college leadership, me, my senior associate dean that now is my successor, anybody from the dean's office didn't participate. Only who came to answer questions. Okay? I told them, you decide we're not doing it, we're not doing it. Without you, we cannot do it. I strongly believe in the fact. You know, make fun of them, but you know, the university is a faculty. Usually there is an interesting story. You know Dwight Eisenhower? Heard about this guy? You probably heard about him in World War II, right? And you probably heard about him that he was president of the United States. But you probably didn't hear that in between the two, he was president of Columbia University. They packed him at Columbia. And Eisenhower came to speak to the faculty. In the faculty meeting with a little larger number of people in the audience, and he told them, you, the faculty, are the employees of the university. I.I. Rabi, Nobel laureate, raised his hand and said, Mr. President, we, the faculty, are not the employees of the university. We are the university. And I believe it. So, we didn't participate. It took 6.5 months. Deliberation, they defined all the parameters, including incentives. If you ask me, we have time for questions, also in the middle, so don't be shy. Usually the talk takes 50 minutes. First time I gave it to Stanford, to the trustees, that was 2 hours, and to Stanford. And there it took 2 hours, because they had all the questions. Here it will take less, though the room is preserved for 5 days, so we're okay. Reserved, not preserved. At the end, there was a vote. 75% of the faculty voted to do it. At the moment, except with one exception, nobody admits that they voted against it. The main concern of the faculty, quality, 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 and the quality of the courses is identical. No compromises. And 90% or more are taught by the faculty. We don't hire other people to do the job. It's not a teaching load, and they get compensated. Again, if somebody wants to ask a question, ask. But nobody has to do it. And then it went to, like you, we have a university system. Georgia Tech is one of 26. I understand that you guys are one of 4, right? Robbie, one of 4. University system, it had to go to Board of Regents, and they did as their help. They convinced them. But nobody knew what it is going to be, and nobody knew, and they said, they want to do something, we don't exactly know why. Let them do it. Doesn't look harmful. So in May they voted to do it, to approve it, and then we actually, after the vote, we immediately started the work and made 5 courses. Okay? Now we have 60. So it was announced in May, in May and January. So how long will we prepare the courses? From May, from 5 to 8 months. 8 months. With 380 students. Actually, we could have had double, 700 students, 750 students. We decided to start with a small number, just to make sure that all the systems are working. You know, we didn't know what's working, what's not working. The systems were of Udacity, because we went with Udacity. And this is our motto. Our motto is accessibility through affordability and technology. And everything you will see in green is unique. Okay? So actually the first unique thing comes later, because that was the bombshell. The bombshell was the price. You see compared to what? 7,400 compared to 40,000 and compared to 70,000. Yes.
So the courses are launched on Udacity.
Yes.
The students then apply to
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. And can they take the courses if they are not admitted into the degree?
All the courses appear also as MOOCs. So you can take all the courses.
And what is the difference once they apply?
No, they get the service. They have the homeworks graded. They have chat rooms. They have all this support.
And then do they also, do the courses run according to the semester?
So, two what seem to be contradictory effects. One, it's asynchronous, but with limitations. It's inside the window of a semester. Sebastian, who came from Udacity, and lives in a wild world, he said, let's do it anytime, any place. It's very hard to manage. It's inside the window of a semester. Plus, also some of the homeworks and exams, they have some timetables. So it's not totally wide. But also when you go to class here, you sometimes fall behind 2 weeks. But so, yeah, so it's not totally asynchronous.
And are there other
I will hire you to ask these questions everywhere I go. This is talk number 93. I love it. Talk number 93 in 16 countries. 17 in Singapore is in May. I was invited to Saudi Arabia. My wife didn't let me go. But UAE might be 18. So yes, but he asked wonderful questions. So don't be serious. Take him seriously.
Do they only stay on the Udacity platform?
Yes.
Or do they also use a Georgia Tech platform in addition?
A little bit Georgia Tech, the grades, all sorts of things are in Georgia Tech. But as dean, I didn't play with these details.
Yeah, it wasn't your thing.
If it's working, leave it alone.
Yeah.
So you see the comparison to the costs. The next week of the announcement, I was on the front page of the New York Times with growth. So I was in the front page. And so far there were 1,300 newspaper media articles. 12 in the New York Times, 16 in the Wall Street Journal, 30 in combined Chronicle of Higher Education and Inside Higher Education. Unbelievable. So this was the first accredited MOOC-based degree. Online existed before, okay? But same price. Actually, sometimes even more price. They charge even more the university because they have to ship it, like Amazon, you know. So they added the shipment costs. So it was even more expensive, okay? And still there are such things like U2. You heard about U2? U2. But that was the first MOOC base, because MOOCs were free, nobody even thought about it in the same thought with bona fide degrees. How do you say it in English? Bona fide? It's Latin. So why did we do it? Georgia Tech motto is progress and service. We believe that's progress and that's service. College has a history of innovation. Another thing we innovated, and I believe you guys in UC should adopt the threads for undergraduate in computer science. Because computer science already in dozen places, we were number 2 after Carnegie Mellon. It's a college, it's not a department or school in our case, it's a college. College of Engineering and College of Computing. Small. In 2017, you will see, I'm stealing my thunder, there was a projection of the number of jobs for STEM graduates in 5 years. 74% in computing, 16% in all of engineering. So I'm not saying that computing has to be larger than engineering. But the education is also multifaceted, and it's not one degree. Georgia Tech, there are threads, 8 threads, you choose 2 out of 8. So the 8 choose 2 different degrees, which is 28. Like mechanical and chemical. There are several degrees in engineering, there are several degrees in computing, going to completely different jobs, etc. So this is the future. So we had already a history of innovation, yes.
Zvi, would you say that the experience with the threads, having the faculty adopt that, seeing the innovation yield benefits and all of the success?
We believe, you already noticed I'm not very humble. I believe it's the best computer science engineering in the world, the threads. So we are ranked only number 4, but ranking depends on other stuff. Also on reputation and superstars, all sorts of funny things. So, I believe, actually, some university actually stole it from us, including, I'm not sure you heard about this university, small university in California called Stanford. They stole it from us, but they don't steal. They call it streams. They change the name.
But the risk when the college took that on and then seeing it be successful.
I wasn't there.
Do you think that helped faculty be open to the idea of this?
Possibly. There was already a case of doing something out of the box.
Yeah.
Since I mentioned ranking, I believe that we are ranked way in several ways. Undergraduate, master, PhD, much higher than we deserve. This is the main reason. We are doing something out of the box that nobody has done before, and we are in the news. It helps. Okay? In terms of superstar, there are several universities ranked below us that have many more superstars, and I can actually give you specifics. But ranking, they're ridiculous until you find that you are highly ranked, and then you say, oh, they're great. They're ridiculous, okay? Especially US News and World Report, that it's not, everybody reports everything, nobody checks, self-reported. In Colombia, I don't know if you read the news there, Colombia invented numbers. So they had to throw it out for a year, and now they dropped from 2 to 18 as a punishment. But they're probably 10 or 8, but they were progressing all the time, but they were not happy enough. So they kept enlarging, increasing the lie. Until somebody from Colombia noticed and wrote a paper and said, cannot be. This number cannot be right. He checked some numbers. MS and CS, the most natural places to start. MS, it's nobody cares about it. CS is where the technology is, though I believe it should go anywhere. We'll get to it. Maybe also to undergraduate education. We'll get to it. That was the right time for the experiments. The technology was rapidly maturing, and already we had a dozen MOOCs. People did MOOCs. They taught the MOOCs. They didn't know any of their students all over the world, and they liked it. The red stuff is the one. That's the reason. Students want credentials. Students want to study, even to get certificate. That means nothing. They want degrees. That's a motivator. In the normal MOOCs, I don't know if you remember, Bobby, initially, the MOOCs, and I don't know how much it's today because nobody counted today, single-digit survival rate. So people will say, the MOOCs by Sebastian, it was 160,000. I'm not sure how many survived. But immediately afterwards, there was some people kept track. Half of the class didn't show up for the first class. They downloaded it, but they didn't do anything. And then, people take it. There is no credential. They have something in the family, something in the work. They drop it. 7% survive. This, you don't pay much, but once you pay something, it's serious. It's psychological. Larger, we didn't know, but it will turn out almost different students were tech online. So we will show you, I'll give you a proof. We didn't cannibalize the program, the on-campus program. We redefined the experience to be, you won't believe it. In some respects, it's more student-friendly. Okay? You will see. Okay? They even have a community, it's unbelievable. We have big shortage of computer science professionals. 5 years ago, they said that 1 million will be missing. I think the number is 1 million, but I didn't see confirmation. Because they said 5 years. They said then it was 500,000, but it will be 1 million. And I believe it's 1 million, and I'm not sure how the pandemic influenced it. That's totally unexpected, new pipeline for PhD students, 50. Maybe more. So far, 48,000 students applied. That's the total of all the applications. 75% were admitted. What? Are you crazy? The normal thing in university, every university almost is proud on how many people they disappoint and make miserable. How many of them they reject, gleefully reject. We accept only 7%. 93% send them, go out of here later. Okay? Well, in truth, about 30 or 40 of the 93% are as good as the 7%. And also part of the 7% are there not because of themselves, but because of their parents and legacy and all these things. We simply took this upside down. Everybody that is capable is being accepted. So we didn't need a required GRE, but we required TOEFL. And we required a bachelor. We don't give you master if you don't have BS. I heard you have something that even doesn't need a bachelor. But bachelor, I don't think it's right, but it's your decision. You can give them full professors, you know. So that's another thing that 124 countries, 50 states, all of them. Not vast majority, all of them declare order. We won't accept you, you know. Application, vast majority, because those without it are not accepted. 65% domestic, 35% international. That's exactly the opposite what's on campus. On campus, majority, like 60%, international, 40% domestic. Why? Why? They don't want to study, there was a visa. Not all of them, many of them. So, big number of applicants, and admitted, some of them are excellent. They want to get into the States. So that's the first indication that this difference, that it's different populations. We are not cannibalizing their own campus. So far, 40,000 unique enrollments, 85% yield. Those that accepted usually come. I already told you 12,000 enrolled. Age, that's another demographics that shows the difference. OMSCS are 8 years older. Okay? They're older. So again, different population. Again, you see, that's enrollment. 61 US citizens, the rest are permanent residents, 39% are international. So majority is domestic. All states and territories, lots of countries, 19% had other masters, 6% had other PhDs. So we discovered, again, it was not in the plan, that OMSCS, and also if you will have a CS program, also serves the purpose of educating even experts in other fields in computer science, because nowadays nobody can live without computer science. And it creates multidisciplinary experts, you know, which actually the market needs them in a very big way because there is shortage, even bigger shortage. So this is on campus. This is the leading India, China, and Taiwan. OMSCS is China, India, and Canada. And the other countries less. So this is international enrollment. This is retention. So how do we admit? We don't admit, and I heard that you do the same. We tentatively admit. So if you have a BA, and if you have a reasonable TOEFL, then we admit you provisionally. You have to take 2 courses out of a list of about 10 and get at least a B. If you do it, you are in. If not, bye-bye. So that's why we have 2 retentions. In front, we 85%. No. 68% for those we admitted survived. That means finish with a degree. But if we take only those that pass the 2 courses, 68%, 85% of them pass. So it indicates that this test of the 2 Bs initially is a good one, and you're using it. And we have been going up and up every semester. We have summer, so take out the summer. Summer is special, not all the courses are given, and we don't admit new students in the summer. But the number cannot grow. There are no new students in the summer. Every semester it grew, or maybe it was sometimes a little bit flat. And then, in 2019, it looks like we peaked. What happened then? The pandemic kept going up. So now I think it's peaked. We'll see. I don't know yet. So I'll show you a video clip and then I'll say something.
Hi, I'm a Mac.
No!
All right, we'll start over. Let's do this one.
So when I wrote these down, I started to think, boy, they're more different than you'd expect just by sticking an "un" in front.
How so?
Well, they don't seem to really, the definitions don't seem to have all that much in common. It's not like this one uses label training data to generalize labels to new instances, and this one uses unlabeled training data to generalize labels to new instances. Like, I would think that you'd have the definition of one, you just stick an extra "un" in there.
Well, that's kind of true, right? So if you do some data description and make sense out of unlabeled data, and then I give you a new piece of data, somehow using that description, you would know how to describe it.
Maybe, there's definitely some unsupervised learning algorithms that do some amount of generalization, but it's not as unified. I think in some sense, the concern here is that unsupervised learning is just not as unified a problem or as well defined or crisply defined a problem as supervised learning.
Oh, I think that's definitely true. Here's the game. You've got two people. These two people are criminals.
Oh no! Are they smooth criminals?
One of them is. You're terrible. Okay, so
This is Charles Isbell.
+1.
Ooh. And I'm Michael Littman.
+2.
Wait, why am I worth less?
-2. Stay on top.
All right, well, it's my job to introduce our mini course on reinforcement learning.
+1.
Okay, so this is an example of a piece of a machine learning course. And by the way, we have 3 or 4 courses now with over 1,000 students. That's one of them. Machine learning is, computer science is hot. Machine learning is hot square. This Charles Isbell is my successor, terrific guy. Michael Littman is from Brown, and they both produce the course. So you can have all sorts of things. So, and this is only the one example that we have. There are 2 teachers in the course. When it's being offered, the instructor of record is Charles, and Michael doesn't do it. But the 2 produce the course. And you see they can sing. They can be one bad guy and a good guy, one of them the smart guy that explains to the stupid guy. They can do all sorts of things. There are lots of possibilities how to do the course. Not everybody uses them, but just to indicate, or a little bit to break the suspense. So I give you this video. We have dozens of student communities. So first, all of them, of course, participate in Piazza and in the other one. What's the other one? I always forget. Slack. But they have their own social media and interact much more than students on campus. Students on campus use social media for social life, for love life, but not for study. They use it much more for study. So the biggest is this a group of subreddit of 24,000. It used to be Google+, but Google+ doesn't exist anymore. But we have Facebooks, Slack is 10,000. 74 groups they created. It's not on Google+. It's now on Reddit. Okay? This is an old slide. All sorts of groups, by course, by gender, by ethnic group, whatever you want. Some of the interesting examples of students, they get t-shirt, that's important. A husband and wife. An Indian student that served on the Himalayas. And once a week he went to the base to record stuff from the internet. And if there was some announcement or some, all sorts of things with the course. He already finished. That's my favorite. A driver of a garbage truck in New York City with his family. He loves his story. I think he's still driving a garbage truck. But he finished the master. I think he also gets money from being a computer scientist. And there are opportunities for veterans, okay? In fact, do you recognize him? Do you? So we have all, every once in a while, we have some social plan for them, some special lectures, you know, so you give a lecture. How can you bolster your transition out of the military into the civil life? It looks a bit different, but it's the same guy. So we survey them, we keep track, and we're quite happy with what we see. 97 worth it, 97% recommended, 81% help their career, 48% help them secure higher salary, 36% join new workplace, 25% promoted, 6% started teaching in high school or even in college, community college. 5% transition to tech sectors. They were completely outside of the tech sector. These lesson learned, these are the most important. I'll give you 10 more, but these are the most important ones. Red, we see red. There is a large unmet demand. It's also the Harvard study said, large unmet demand. There was a need, begging for something like this. And you can't learn from what you don't know. Or in other words, never say never. I just said it first. But what I mean is, Jose, physics you cannot do it. You cannot do it on book for credit for physics. You cannot. It's very easy to say. Never say can't. Try it. Even if it didn't work initially, try to make it work. I'm not saying everything is possible. Without trying, you say it's impossible, and that's the usual faculty approach. Cannot be done. Too expensive. And here there was an experiment, they want to do computer science here. So the faculty, some faculty asked, why don't you do other things? Then you can do 5 other things. Nobody asked the faculty what 5, and they would not know. But it's a natural, at least in academia, that's the natural response. So everything is possible. It's impossible only after you try several times and try to change your strategy several times. And I hope many more will be tried. And we have not only computer science, we have half a dozen different subjects, but it should be almost all the subjects. Students are extremely engaged, officially and unofficially, interacting, self-created social media group, significant peer support, much more than on campus. The story of teaching assistant is amazing. That's from last semester. About 450 TAs, 2/3 of them other OMSCS students or OMSCS alums. These people have a job. In many cases, they have a family, and they get peanuts. Now, master students on campus, when they TA, they get tuition, which is much more than the salary. It's very good to be TA. But their tuition is small. So they do it for peanuts, because they love it, they love us, and they love to give back. Plus, you see, these 104 on campus TAs, we needed more on campus TAs, so we grew also the master program on campus. Okay? Because we needed the TAs, and more come because they're fully supported. It wasn't difficult. Not difficult to create about scalability. Day-to-day scales mostly. Grading, it doesn't scale without creativity. You need all these TAs. It's a lot of work. More students, more work. And intentional advising, very difficult to scale. Everybody asks, you didn't ask yet about cheating. My approach, first of all, everywhere you can cheat. On campus, you can cheat, and people cheat. This doesn't mean that we should not protect from cheating. The way we protect from cheating is, in cases you have a real exam, you sit on your laptop, the camera is on you, and there is a proctor. That's part of the expenses. Somebody asks. We need proctors to proctor the exam, and they proctor like 30 students or 50 students. They see them all the time. The students don't know who. And we had some disciplinary action. Did somebody manage to cheat? For sure. But you know what? We don't want it to happen. But if somebody cheats and gets a job, then he gets kicked out because it's not good. It's not good for our reputation if we get a reputation of a place that give qualification to cheaters. We don't want it to happen. Also for the cheating, technology can still improve. And there is lots of cause destruction, even more. Students, very active role for the students, more than on campus, much more. The discussion group. Some of them are software engineers. And then they say on the social media, today what the professor did, say, it's nonsense. He has no clue. That's not true. Sometimes they do it, for hopefully very few cases. Because, they are from the field. Giving the students control also improves the other students. They interact. It's a community. And some anecdotes, there is a course in educational technology. Some of the students are teachers. There is a course of health informatics. They're physicians. They add dimensions that normal courses on campus don't have. So of course, if you have a class of 20 students and you discuss it, the professor knows everybody's first name and last name and the name of their mother, it's better, of course. But in computer science, the luxury of classes of size 20 doesn't exist. Classes of 200, 300, with 500 in a wait list, I think you have it too. And you get other freebies, like the first in the world AITA. Her name is Jill Watson. Why? Because we use the IBM Watson platform. You know the IBM Watson platform defeated the world record, the champion, and the second one in Jeopardy. So we use this technology, and we don't use it anymore, but her name is Jill Watson, and she answers thousands of questions, and now used by 20 courses. Not all the courses, but all the courses, you can use the AITA, okay? Other projects, some online tools, also we use AI to identify repetitive questions on Piazza. Right now, if somebody will ask the same question, somebody will answer it, it's closed by repetition. The AI find it and tell the guy, send him where he can find the answer. Plus, there is lots of plagiarism, and we're not to offend some of the people here. I won't mention the countries where it usually happens, but it usually happens everywhere. You can contract, get a project, homework, or exam, take over the exam. You send it to somebody in some country, and you pay for it, and they send you back the answer. So actually, one of our professors found a trick how to take care of, in part, to take care of it. He created such a service. He offered this service, and he caught 2 dozens. Okay. So I told you about Harvard study, several very interesting facts. First, That's already 5 years old. Majority, that was the only option. Of course, now with the new online, they have other options, but that, as the first one, it was this kind of learning was the only option. They couldn't go and leave everything, leave the city or leave the family or to get a degree. That was the only option. That includes the 50 that continue now to PhD, which must be pretty good. And they claim that this is the first rigorous evidence that we know of showing that online degree program can increase educational attainment, that more people can get this education. The first proof. Then they say that we are the largest, and then they say that we will boast the number of PhD students graduating in a year by 7%. They were wrong, it's 11. You know, the number in 2021 was 22,000 or something, and if you remember, 2,200 were OMSCS. A little bit of jobs. So we offer them career fairs, real and virtual, also the OMSCS students, info sessions, virtual with employers, career counselors, and some OMSCS students hired other OMSCS students. They get to know them. They get to know that they're good. This is the information I told you in the beginning. That was the first projection. 71% of the all new jobs are in STEM, 8% of graduates are in computer science. Just the difference, the gap. And here, 75% of the jobs in computing, 16 in engineering. What I told you before. And that's a breakdown to area. So we're doing it in a highly demanded area for employment, which is the natural place to do it, or to do it first. Interesting to note impact, first of all, in a master's degree, so that's only the first 5 years, the number of applications to our on-campus program more than doubled, more than 135%. So might be true for you too. It goes everywhere. Undergraduate BS in CS, more than 500%. And that helps, you know, this publicity helps. So this is the percentage-wise. If we go all the way back to 2008, 1,200%. Computer science is hot. Terribly hot. Don't touch it. So all this measuring success, we check. Top quality, we believe. Online and on-campus assessment, yes. Enormous case, yes. Financial viability, yes. We cannot say for sure because it's very hard to study. Many of them have jobs. So it's really hard to know the direct impact of the job. And we don't have, you ask how many people work for us, not many. So we didn't have a research department that will answer all this. Maybe we should. Followers. The first follower was UIUC. You know what's UIUC? University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. The associate dean, his name is Rajet Chamandi, came to Georgia Tech, spent there 2 months, and learned everything we do. And 2 years later, they came up with IMBA. IMBA, you write like iPhone, okay? IMBA, little I, MBA, iPhone. They are now, we get numbers soon, in terms of size, the third largest one. He had a tremendous promotions as a result, I believe. A few years later, he became the Dean of Business in Northeastern University, and 3 years later, he became the president of Illinois Institute of Technology. So it did well. Right now, in 30 universities, more than 30 universities, there are more than 70 programs, including yours, more than 70 programs of MOOC-based, highly discounted compared to the on-campus degree master degree. So we had 70 followers, 30 university followers. Okay, that's the biggest compliment, I think. So sizes, these are the sizes, 12,000 OMS. We created 2 more, Illinois created 2 more. Illinois created, in addition, we created the analytics, which is like data science, it's very similar. You have a very successful data science program. And cybersecurity. Illinois created one accounting, and I forgot the other one. Just OMSCS, if you take the student, they are 29% of all the students from Georgia Tech. If you take the 3 program, that's one program. There are dozens of departments, hundreds of programs. One program, 29%. If you take the 3 online program, 42%. Out of this world. We didn't stop there. And I'm getting to my vision. What's the time now? 4:05. We'll finish 10 minutes. It's okay, because you asked questions. So we get carried away. You can still ask questions. Because we have the room for today and tomorrow. I went undergraduate, but not in full. And I'll tell you my vision in a second. CS 1301, Introduction to Computing is Python. Python now, in Georgia Tech, and maybe also here, is the first programming language. Some people know it from high school, but that's the first course in computer science. Taught by David Joyner, a fantastic teacher. I cheated. He's the best teacher to do it. It's collaboration also with McGraw-Hill. McGraw-Hill David wrote an ebook, and with edX. We did it with edX. Udacity doesn't work with universities anymore, and we also don't work with Udacity. We do all the stuff ourselves. They created a smart book for the course. It's optional, but that's the course. If you don't have it you have to have programming course for everybody in Georgia Tech, not only in CS. Everybody in Georgia Tech, even if you major in humanities, there are not many, you have to take a programming course. You can have several. Those in computing take Python. So every semester, there are 500 students take this course. And half of them decide to take it online. They pay the same tuition, so we didn't change the tuition. Okay? There's book version. So far, 500,000 took it. So, by the way, all the courses on OMSCS exist in a MOOC version. You can go and look at them. You can study, but then you don't have the support that a tuition-paying student has. No statistical difference between on campus and not. And actually, because I cheated, because David is such a good teacher, they love it more than any other course they took at Georgia Tech. Maybe it's not a compliment for Georgia Tech. The other teachers are not so great, but he did a fantastic job. It's an existing proof. You can do it. And in 2019, two more undergraduate courses. Object-oriented programming with Java and algorithms. This is the baby, those of you who are computer scientists, that's the baby course of computer science, an algorithm. There are many courses, but that's the first one with the data, data structures, and other things. And more are planned. And by the way, Class Central is the same company that the other experts on online So they, for example, know that how 30 universities have these 70 programs. They also know rank the undergraduate course. So the Python course, our Python course is number 2 of hundreds. OOP is number 4, and algorithm is number 5. And none of them, Helsinki is number 1. You know, it's the entire world competes. And we want also to penetrate high schools. So I visited here, Success Academy. That's one of the famous charter schools, the one in New York City. Mostly minorities, you know. In the class, almost all of them. And they love it. They use the tapes. They have their own teacher, and we gave them a TA. They pay for it, but we gave them a TA. So they use the OMSCS course in the high school. And there are 2 charter schools. I don't think we penetrated yet the public schools because they're always a challenge. Here's my vision. Can we dent the college schools? So first I tell you, I am not, that's what I'm not for, doing all the college online. Maybe in few cases for adults, you know, adult education. Some people, you know, Johnny went back home and his wife made fun of him. You don't have a degree, okay? So he wants to have a degree. Even though he's a computer engineer, you know, but he wants a degree, formal. There are cases like this. Not only wives or husbands or whatever. So if adults want it and if there is a market, let's justify to have a fully online degree. College serves several purposes. I won't go into it. I am not even an expert in it, and I had a son in college here, and I know it's important, and it's important not only of what you study. Okay? So I'm not for replacing college by online for young adults. No. But I'm for using online to shorten the college maybe by a third. So I don't know exactly the numbers here, but I'll tell you what happens in Georgia Tech. You know, Georgia Tech, only half of the students finish in 4 years. 30% finish in 6. Why? First courses are tough. They're tough. Also in OMSCS, you know, we didn't make them simpler. Second, they have internship and co-ops. So you can go for a year. So with what I'm suggesting, we might cut it by a third. They can take 2 or 3 courses even before in high school, or even after high school without going out of town and having a job and for working from home for a year and completing some part of the first year. Then going to college, but then when you go to internship or to co-op, you can take 1 course, not full, 1 course online. And at the end, you know, advanced courses, you know, courses when you're at senior, they sometimes master courses. It's the same courses. There's overlap. You go, you graduate, you're on a job, you make money, and you complete your degree. At your pace, you know, in half a year, year and a half. Nobody cares, but you, or maybe your parents. So it can shorten the college time. This is my dream. This is my wishful thinking. I'm not a dean even anymore. Even when I was dean, nobody listened to me. So now, we'll see. I'm pushing hard. And maybe you'll do it. Maybe you'll run and do something like this. It's all meaningful reduction in tuition. It won't solve the debt, it won't solve the total price is still horrendous, but 1/3 less. Plus even more because at the end you're also working. So it can be even half. But still half of the humongous price is still humongous. I won't go to it, but there is a problem of shortage of teachers. Online ameliorates it, okay? I won't look into the numbers, it's getting late, even though we have the room. Okay, what is BC? No, it's not before Christ. BC is before COVID. AC is after COVID, and BC is during COVID, okay? So, during COVID, everybody moved online. Georgia Tech, we already had 54 online courses. So I cheated when I said 60. It's really 42 plus 18 of the other online master program that they can learn too, because there's some overlap. So altogether, the OMSCS students can take 60 courses, but OMSCS itself created only 42, and still created. March 21 was still online. September we came back. Many were exposed to online, mixed experience. Because many places, they just take courses and the MOOCs in our programs, and I believe yours too, is not just videotaping a class. So they were quite lousy quality, okay? But you can do it, you can, so during COVID, a mixed experience, but many were exposed. Many said, hey, maybe it's possible, you know. And for college, not all of it. Much less than half. So my idea that the college eventually will end up to be 3 years. You know, some countries every 3 years. I'm from Israel, 3 years. Europe, many countries, 3 years college. So in Georgia Tech it's 4, but really it's 5 and 6 and 7. You cannot do it with them more than 7. They need special dispensation, you know. So sometimes they say, okay, do it at 8. We'll be slow counters, you know, finish in 8. After COVID, online teaching, I hope, will be much, much bigger. And that's your job and our job and everybody else's job. I hope we will finally move into the 21st century. So this is the end, but no, not yet. DC to AC, technology challenges, hybrid teaching. For students, classes are harder, and teachers need to be more organized. But I'll go fast over this. And David Joyner and Charles Isbell, they wrote a book, and they have all sorts of modes of online teaching. They wrote a book about the future of online, okay, which I highly recommend. This is the end, but not entirely the end. I'll ask you a question. Have you heard about anything in the US that became cheaper in the last 30 years? And I'm not talking about the price of gas that first went up by 100% and then went down by 20, okay? I'm not saying on temporary reduction. If you heard anything, OMSCS became cheaper. Why? Because the payment for a course in OMSCS, they pay by the course. They don't pay for the degree. It's not clear how long and if you finish. They pay by the course. The course has 2 components. One is the tuition, didn't change. The other one is fees. There are 2 kinds of fees. And for years, the University of Georgia said that they will cancel one of the fees. Last year, they canceled. So here's the picture. This is the unusual case that you finish in 5 terms. Nobody finishes. Very few finish in 5 terms. That means taking 2 courses a term. It means the fees per term. So the less terms you take, the less fees are. So then you cost now was in the spring was $6,900 because of the fees. The fees were $200, so 1,000 less. Okay. Decrease of 14%. This is the usual. You finish in seven semesters, 1.2 courses a term. It went down from 7,500 to 6,100. And if you're very slow and take a course per term, it was 8,400, it go to 64. But the typical price is 6,100 for full master degree. Thank you. Any more questions? Promise not to hurt you. Or her. Yes?
Did I hear you right, that you dropped Udacity?
Yes?
Do you partner with an online learning platform now?
No, no,
No?
we do it. You people now gave them an idea. You have to consider the pros and cons. Udacity essentially, they were the first with university, with us. But then they had a terrible experience with San Jose State. I know you can read the history. Faculty simply didn't want MOOCs. And actually went out of universities. We were the only one that they did. And at a certain point, we say, hey, we really don't need you. Sebastian and I are like brothers. Actually, in the New York Times article, in the cover, they quoted, we call one another brother, in the article they quoted Jim Gates. Jim Gates is perhaps the best black scientist in the world, physicist from Brown. He invited me to PCAST. PCAST is a presidential council of advisor in science and technology. And he became a fan number one of OMSCS, and he said that Sebastian and I probably will become the Wright brothers of education. And when I give the talk, I say, no, we're not the Wright brothers, we are the wrong brothers. But why the Wright brothers? No, we didn't invent the airplane. He said they are the Wright brothers because they will find out if MOOCs can fly. And we did. Okay. So since then, each of us called the other brother. And when they dropped Udacity, I even didn't know about it. I wasn't in. I found out about it later. So nobody from Udacity or Sebastian came to complain. Okay? But with Coursera, it's different. Coursera, there's a contract for 10 years or 3 years. So I don't know. I'm not giving any legal advice. Yes? Yes, somebody raised their hand.
Possibly it was me. So on your slide about measuring success, there was a bullet point about assessments, and it said equality between on-campus and online assessments. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that and how you ensure that equality.
No, when you have exams or homeworks, the TAs grade you. It's usually not automatic. That's why we need 450 TAs. It's manual. That's a part we didn't find. We find sometimes solutions, sometimes we can automate, sometimes we can give four answers, A, B, C, D, that the computer can check, but in most cases we need a human.
So follow-up question, and that makes a lot of sense. Who organizes your TAs? I mean, that is a lot of TAs. So I mean, I imagine you have like an administrative structure that.
Yeah, but I don't know. There is some stuff, there is an announcement, and there is some stuff in the applicants, and somebody reviews them. As dean, I didn't go to this level. I don't know the details.
Ah, okay.
And so far, so good. If there were problems, I would go there.
Thank you.
We take one
Yes.
more question. Yeah.
It can be allowed now.
You have 75% of application acceptance rate. So if other students want to have the online master degree program for percent, how can they compete with your school to get more students or?
Bobby, can you repeat? I didn't fully understand.
Yeah, so if other students have the online master degree program for percent, and they are follows, they are behind the programming, so how can they grab more students?
Oh, okay, good question. And that's a thought, I don't give advice, but a thought. You have to find a way to distinguish yourself, to do something special, even a little bit crazy, you know, to attract more people. Also, you know, if your classes are not that large, you can give more attention. We give attention, but it's limited. 1,000 students in the class, give me a break. It's not there. It might scare some people. Hey, there are 1,000 in this class, and we have only 200. So you have some ways to attract. But it's tough. For us, in this sense, it was easier. We went into a totally empty field.
So, let me once more thank Zvi for a very inspiring and interesting talk. And also I want to thank a few special people, Kirk Ambrose and other people in the Center of Teaching and Learning for their help in this whole visit, Randall Fullington in the Office of, I always get that wrong, Academic Learning Innovation, and people in that office, but most particularly Gabby Kristen Munoz.
And that's for me too, Gabby.
Put together a lot of
She is wonderful.
to do.
And I gave her word because every 2 days I change something.
So I'm sure if there are people who have more questions that they want to address individually, we can still take a little bit of time up here, but thank you all for joining.